What about Bill Gates? Did we see Mr. Eugenics?
I've not, but I have seen his chief research officer, Craig Mundy. We've got some lovely photographs of Craig. So the Microsoft were there in force this year. I believe Mundy has been before a few times, but so yeah. Anyway, so
well, you know, their whole new business model is forced inoculations and weather control, and so we know they were there pressing Spain to go ahead with the carbon tax.
Right. Well, good. I'm sorry, I said no. Terrible. Obviously, it's just awful. And I was just thinking to myself how extraordinary they strategize in such a manner, and in fact, you get,
we have the CEO of the biggest technology company on television saying he will control our weather. I mean, this is like a bad B movie where you have the crazy guy, I'm taking over the earth, I will control the weather.
What is that? Sorry, I wasn't aware of that. I've been studying.
Oh yeah, Bill Gates has got weather control systems, chemtrailing, geoengineering is what they call it.
I wish they could behave a little bit less like James Bond baddies. I mean, this year they were all swept into an underground car park because they didn't want, the few of us who were here to photograph them. I get really embarrassed. We keep seeing them sort of huddling down on the floor of limousines and holding handbags and newspapers to their faces. And I'm thinking, is that what you do if you've just been meeting in order to try and make a better world? I don't think it is. I think if I'd just been spending 4 days strategizing for the good of mankind, I'd sort of be walking out of there thinking, hey, I might get a few pats on the back. But, they crawl out and they slide out. And it's really, do you know what? My overarching emotion of this particular Bilderberg, last was probably fear. This has been absolute embarrassment. And I just find the whole thing poignant. From the point of view of I just look at them and I go, really, come on. That is not really how you behave as an adult.
Well, they know they're setting up world government, usurping liberty and sovereignty, so of course they creep around and behave like rodents scurrying around in the dark of night from the bright lights of publicity. As David Rockefeller said in '91, they couldn't have built this world government with the bright lights of publicity, and so they're like vampires. The lights of publicity ignites them, so that's why I'm using the vampire metaphor.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Skelton, I had the American Free Press writer on, Mark Anderson. He said that it's in the local Spanish news that the police union of the Catalonia State Police are filing a complaint about being forced to guard these people.
Oh, yeah, and I reported in my last report that the head of the local police here in Sitges, I don't know if I've told you this, my brain is a little bit muddied after 4 days of madness, but they arrested a couple of guys on the hill. They took them into the police station, and the chief of police stood there and said, we admire you. We admire what you're doing. I don't like the guys up there. And, I think there's not a lot of sympathy, actually, from the average Spaniard, and I include the police in that. Interestingly, I had breakfast with one of the chauffeurs today. We were heading out to have breakfast at the hotel, but it was still locked. But one of the chauffeurs pulled up alongside me, and I said, oh, look, I was going to go out for breakfast. And he said, oh, look, we're going to go over there. So I went and bought him a cup of coffee, and we chatted. I didn't actually tell him I was a reporter, but we got talking, and he gave me a couple of interesting things. There's a name off the list that isn't on the name he identified as someone that isn't on either of the two slightly varying lists of delegates, which some powerful Spanish lady called Donna Esperanza something or other. And he also told us, more interestingly, that he'd been speaking to the police, and he said this with great conviction, but obviously this is third hand from a chauffeur, so take it with however many grains of salt as you want. But he said that the cost of the security alone for the conference was 10 million euros. Now, I don't know if that's the case. It sounds
it was 900 and something million with the G20 last year here in the U.S.
Really? My goodness.
900 million.
How do you spend 900 million? I say that we're hosting the Olympics for 13 billion or however much it is, so yeah, I shouldn't ask stupid questions.
Yeah, well, in fact, guys, I want to be sure, pull that article up. It was a 900 million spent on G20 security. I believe that's for all their past meetings in the last year, but I want to be, that 900 million number was there, or I know it was above 90 million, yeah, because I'm not adding a zero. We're going to check that right now, but Mr. Skelton, what else happened?
What else happened? Well, we've been handing out our T-shirts, which it's been very positive. By the way, I'd like to say the main thing that's happened is it's been a really warm, positive experience for I think everyone who's been here. That we had some people that came as a result of your broadcast. We've had a few people that came because of what I wrote last year. Some people that have just started reading about this kind of thing, and a lot of young people, a lot of very excited, interested, concerned people, and we just had a really good time. I know it sounds like you shouldn't have a good time at a place like this, and last year I had such a ghastly, dystopian, awful time, which drove me half mad as I was chased around Athens. But this year, it's been, sitting up late into the night with a bunch of great people talking about things and seeing a great increase in numbers of people who've come from all across the world to this event to bear witness to it, and most importantly of all, a huge increase in press. I mean, genuinely, it is properly a breakthrough. I mean, I was speaking to a Spanish guy just the other day who'd come, and he was helping us translate some leaflets into Spanish, and he was just saying, I was speaking to my dad, they were talking about it on he said, they're just talking about it now on the radio, on one of the main radio stations in Spain. Everyone's talking about it. The chauffeur I was talking to said, yeah, everyone's talking about it. He said, I don't know, is it because the people in the hotel are talking, but everyone's talking about Bilderberg. And you just feel like everyone's talking about it. And I know.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've gone from being called kooks a decade ago. There's no elite, nobody's meeting. You even a year and a half ago, before you first went, thought it was a joke, you said. To now, it's all over Bloomberg, New York Times, Drudge Report. People, even Bloomberg says, yeah, it does look like Goldman Sachs is trying to destroy things by design. And they quote our blogs, our articles, and say it does look it's by design. And so many times I say something, and it's so incredible, Charlie Skelton, I can't even believe it. I said 900 million. Excuse me. That's what the security at the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania cost. The Toronto Globe reports, and I put into the search engine G20 security cost, $1 billion is what it's going to cost. It says the cost of security for the summit is expected to increase fivefold over estimates and reach $1 billion.
That's extraordinary. I don't know why. Why not just 10 billion? Why not 100 billion? I mean, when you're making up numbers like that, why not just screw us for a little bit more?
You get 20 bankers who are the real presidents, the real rulers. They show up. They lock down Pittsburgh. They lock down whole cities in Canada. They bring in 50,000 cops, and literally it cost $1 billion.
To be fair to them, $1 billion isn't worth what it used to be.
Yeah, but that's probably $1 billion is the whole budget of the city of Austin every year.
It's just awful.
Charlie, stay there. Let's collect our thoughts and any other key intel you've got. You're always so awesome to come on with us. People can read your amazing reports at the London Guardian. Just Google the name Charlie Skelton. You'll get it all. We'll be right back. Stay with us.